Have you spent months trying to build consistent deal flow, creating lead lists, setting up marketing campaigns, building buyer relationships, only to find that you're still working 12-plus-hour days, wondering why you can't get past 1 to 2 deals every month? After helping over 1,000 wholesalers systematize their operations and scale to consistent $20,000 to $50,000 months, I've seen the same problem at every level. And it's the difference between systems that let you scale to 5 to 10 deals every single month while you only work 4 hours a day, and systems that just feel like busy work. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what makes a wholesale real estate system really work. And at the end, I'll show you exactly how I help my students build these systems and break through to consistent monthly income. Now, let's talk about what most wholesalers think that systems are. Most people think systems equal spreadsheets, checklists, and some automation, maybe, but that's not actually what a system is in wholesale real estate. Those can be features and parts of a system, but a real system is a machine that is producing consistent results and consistent deals. Now, there's 4 components to a wholesale real estate system. The first 3 are inputs, processes, and outputs. I'm going to tell you all about the 4th component later on in the video. I think it's a game changer. Now, most wholesalers don't know their inputs or their process flow, right? They don't know what outputs they're measuring. They don't know what inputs they're measuring. They don't know what to track. And this is the biggest thing that I see between students of mine that have actually seen success and get to $10,000 a month plus, and students who just never seem to make it work. The ones who succeed, they track everything they do, the amount of offers, the amount of people they talk to, maybe the amount of dials, it depends. But on a basic level, at least your conversations, your offers, and your contracts, they track that every week and they make sure that they stay on top of that every single week, while the ones over here are just kind of sporadic and they're just calling people at random, don't really have any systems or organization for how to call the lead, how to import the lead into your CRM if you have a CRM. If you could imagine your wholesale business like a factory, your input is motivated sellers, your process is lead generation all the way to closing, and your output is the wholesale fees, the money you make. If you don't know what a motivated seller is, if you don't know what they look like, if you don't know how to systematically convert them or what success metrics to track, how can you run that factory efficiently? You can't. And that's kind of why most wholesale systems fail. Their input is inconsistent. Another thing is process inefficiencies. They may have a process, but they may not be conscious or aware of the process. They may just be doing things out of habit and they don't see the inefficiencies of it. No systematic follow-up, poor conversion rates, if they even track their conversion rates, and a lot of input confusion. A lot of people don't know what the income producing activities are. I just named these the KPIs, the key performance indicators. And if you're starting out with nothing and you're doing this on Zillow, mine are pretty simple: conversations, offers, and then contract signed. But why most systems fail is because they don't know what to track. They don't know why they're tracking it. They don't see the value in looking back at the data long term to see, okay, this is what I did this month. This is how much money I made. So if I do that again, I'll make that same amount of money. Or if I increase it, then I'll make more money. Not having the right systems in place, it creates a business that burns time and energy with no predictable results. And that's not what we want. Now, the quick fix to this is to stop thinking systems as documents and spreadsheets and start mapping your systems out. Every wholesale business has lead generation, marketing, sales, and dispo, and then TC, which is transaction coordinating. So you want to separate these sections out of your business. You want to separate them and organize them. That way you know what you're doing, when you're doing it, and you're not just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. So lead generation, you have to have a system for that. How are you getting your leads? Where are these leads coming from? Is it for free on Zillow? Or are you pulling lists? Are you pulling lists from the city, getting court records, or are you getting PropStream? When you're doing that, you have to have a system and a process for wherever the leads are coming from, and a system and a process for qualifying those leads. That's lead generation. Then you have marketing. Marketing is basically, how are you getting in front of these people's face? Where are you finding these people? Are you cold calling them, like I said, off of Zillow? Because if it is, then that's lead generation and marketing. Another form of marketing is bandit signs, right? Or cold calling. That's the form of marketing that I use, other than Zillow for sale by owner and referrals and JVs. And my lead generation is pulling city records of code violations in those cities that I market, right? And then you have sales, and then you have dispo, right? Sales is just the acquisition side, right? When I get in front of these people and I have a lead in front of me, how am I going to talk to it? What is the process in which I talk to them? From the moment I say hello on the phone to the moment I hang up the phone, whether they have a contract signed or I don't, what is the process of how that phone call is going to go? What process am I going to take them through? Because that's very important. If you don't have a sales process mapped out, then every time you get on the phone, you're going to be confused and be like, what do I say? You trip over your words, and all you end up doing is talking about the house and then giving a lowball cash offer, and the phone call was only 5 minutes. And that was because you didn't know what to talk about. And that was because you didn't have a process in what to talk about and when to talk about them and how to talk about them. So after you organize each of these sections in your business, you want to mark down the goal of each of these sections, right? So for marketing, whatever it is, let's say it's on Zillow for sale by owner, right? For marketing, which is also lead generation for Zillow, you want to say, okay, I want 100 leads from Zillow this month. Good leads, real leads. That should be your goal for marketing for that month, right? And then you have a sales and acquisition goal for the month, which is, I'd say for me, it was about 4 contracts for the month, right? I'd want to get at least 4 to 6 to even 8 contracts every single month from Zillow. And then about 40 to 50% of those contracts fall through. So I expect to get about 60% of those contracts to reach it to the closing table. So after you write out each goal, that's when you want to reverse engineer your daily tasks for each section of the business. So like I said, lead generation and marketing. For that, your goal, you want to be 100 leads. If you break that down, there's 30 days in a month. So 100 divided by 30, what was that? 3. It's about 3.3. So every day you need to get about 3 leads into your system every single day. You need to make sure that you hit that metric every single day, right? Because a month isn't going to happen overnight. You're not going to get the 100 leads overnight. This is going to happen over a period of 30 days of you being consistent and importing 3 leads every single day, because you want to make 3 offers every single day. That's the sales and acquisition side. In order to get those 4 to 6 contracts, you're going to need to make at least 90 offers a month. That's 3 offers a day. If you can manage to do that and work on your sales process, you should get 4 to 6 to even 8 contracts at the end of the month. They have a cash conversion cycle of about 30 to 45 to 55 days. So that's when the money will start coming in. But while that cash conversion cycle is going, you need to have these operations running in the meantime so that when the money comes in, it stays coming in. And so organizing your wholesale systems, you need to put every task under a function with the same goal. Those daily tasks and those daily metrics and those daily KPIs, aka income producing activities, those need to be mapped out and tracked every single day to where it equals up to where at the end of the month, you reach your monthly goal. And then reorganize everything into a logical order, right? You can't just send contracts without leads. You have to go on Zillow and look up and call the leads first. Once you call them, then they answer, then that's when you go through the sales process, get them locked up under contract, right? Now, depending on your wholesale business, this might take 2 hours or 2 weeks. But if you want me to personally guide you through systematizing your wholesale business so that you can scale to consistent monthly deals, I'll show you how at the end of this video. Now, the 4th component of making wholesale real estate systems is feedback loops. This is the difference between systems that work and systems that don't. Without feedback loops, systems become stale and you end up fixing things based on feelings and not facts. Now, here's a real world example of a student of mine that had an onboarding process going wrong. He had perfect lead generation and perfect contract processes and sales processes, but for some reason we saw that the sellers kept backing out after signing the contracts and we couldn't figure out why. Turns out after listening to a few of his calls, he was really just overwhelming the sellers with too many steps after they signed the contract, and he just gave a bad first impression and it pretty much left a bad taste in their mouth, kind of had commission breath, kind of stumbling over his words. He just felt unsure about, the next steps after they signed the contract. We would not have found that issue without feedback. So we simplified the process. We focused on clarity and sellers stopped backing out. That's the power of feedback loops in wholesale real estate. They show you what your systems can't tell you on your own. Now, how do you build feedback into your wholesale real estate systems? The best feedback is metrics and data. Okay, you need scoreboards for every wholesale system, every process, the sales process, the lead generation process. Like I said, you need 100 leads for the month in order to make, let's say, $20,000. So you need to have a process to measure and keep track of every lead that comes into your system every single day. Was it on track? Was it not on track? What type of lead was it? So you need scoreboards for every single process. How many people did you get under contract? How many people backed out, right? You eventually need to end up tracking conversion rates, deal flow, and profit margins. Now, not everything can be tracked with just metrics. That's why me and my team and my students, we meet up weekly and we go over the numbers and we see what are the nuances in between the numbers? What are the nuances in between the conversions? Why are we getting better conversion rates in this state and not this state? These are things that you need to keep track of. And having someone who has already tracked some of those things and scaled his business and other people's business as well, having that type of person by your side to help you track these metrics and understand why you're tracking them is extremely important in scaling your business, especially as a beginner. And then also you want to ask buyers and sellers feedback regularly, right? When I send a deal out to a buyer, let's say that it's not the deal for them for whatever reason, I always ask, okay, well, what was it? Was it the price? Was it the location? Or was it just the condition of the property? What was kind of the reason that you were thinking this wasn't the deal for you? Right? And I always get that feedback and I take notes. But asking for feedback and tracking all of these things is extremely important for you to improve your wholesale business and actually get to $20,000 to $50,000 per month. I always like using this metaphor. Wholesale real estate systems is like a pipe, right? That's carrying water. The water starts as leads, becomes contracts, and exits as profit. Lead generation is like the tap at the top of the pipe that if you turn it, you could turn the faucet on and then the water comes all the way down the pipe, which exits out as money, or you could close it off. You could not do your leads. You could not hit the metrics for the day. You could not get 3 leads imported into your CRM every day. And therefore you're closing the pipe. Therefore, no water's flowing through and you're just left with no money at the end. And you keep wondering why you can't get consistent deal flow. You need to make sure that the processes at the top of the pipe are always operating and always turned on. That way the water is flowing through and you could get money at the end and be happy. Now, another thing I want to talk about is why most wholesalers focus on the wrong thing. They try to turn up their marketing spend when their systems are still broken. More leads into a broken system just equals more problems. And that sales bottleneck is what's going to stop them from getting future potential deals and future buyers. My system optimization strategy is you got to map the systems in your wholesale real estate business. Every department, every section of the business, whether it's lead generation, sales and acquisition, marketing, or dispo, I have to have every single section of my business mapped out and I have to track the data daily, weekly, and monthly with scorecards. I fix the biggest bottleneck first, then I turn up the marketing. I go to the next bottleneck, fix that, then I repeat it. My students who follow this exact same process don't just do more deals, they do better deals with higher profit margins and less stress. Then they go into the scaling cycle, right? You build a system, you run it, you watch it break, potentially, then you fix it, then you run it again. Then you turn up the lead generation tab. You aim for progress and iteration, not perfection. This is how you scale to consistent monthly deals. I just walked you through the exact framework my students use to build systematic wholesale businesses that produce consistent monthly deals. But let me be completely honest with you, okay? Knowing about systems and actually building them while running your wholesale business are two very different things. The students who successfully make this transition from chaotic deal chasing to systematic success have someone who's actually built these systems helping them every step along the way. I give you my personal cell phone number. I help you map out all of your systems, identify what's broken, and build the infrastructure that you need for consistent deals to make the $20,000 to $50,000 months. If you're tired of the feast or famine cycle, if you want to build predictable monthly income instead of hoping your next deal comes through, if you want someone who will actually help you build these systems step by step, then click the link in the description and book a call with me. On that call, we'll map out exactly what systems your wholesale business needs to hit consistent monthly targets, and I'll show you exactly how I can help you build them. But I'm only looking to work with a few people who are serious about systematizing their operations. So if you're just looking for some more free information, this isn't for you. The students who book a call with me this week will be the ones with organized, profitable systems next month.